And we always appreciate Bob Holt's time, sports writer extraordinaire, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Every Thursday gives us some of his time. Bob, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing good. It's a nice hot day in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We're going to be at 95 degrees today, right about at first pitch, too, so summer is right upon us. You wrote today, Bob, in the Democrat, you spoke with Eric Musselman, or at least heard his comments coming from an event talking about Jaylin Williams. And, you know, all the signs point to Jalen Williams staying in the draft if we just look at the number of scholarships that are available. And right now, I guess, you know, they haven't accounted for him. And there, you know, there's something in what Must told you, a quote that you used there that says, well, Jalen Williams has to be 100%, and if you declare for the draft, you have to be all in on that. I mean, there's no other way to go at it. That should be your focus. So then the counter to that would be, well, then for the coach that is coaching the team that you're leaving behind, theoretically, he's got to go at running his team the exact same way as if you're not there at 100% and fill up your scholarships, which is exactly what Must did, right?
Yeah, and I want to be clear. You know, Eric is not saying that Jalen won't come back. He said he's not sure what he's going to do. But, yeah, the fact that he's, you know, right now they're at the 13 scholarship limit, that's a pretty strong indication that they're definitely, you know, hedging their bets that he won't be back. And, you know, it's like Eric said, I mean, you enter the draft and then you get, you know, if he hadn't gotten invited to the combine, you know, that would be a pretty good sign that he's not thought about, you know, that the NBA folks don't pick, they don't envision him being a draft pick. And so then you say, well, if you're not going to be a draft pick, maybe you should go back to college. Or if you're really set on starting your pro career, obviously you'll get a free agent opportunity. You'll get an opportunity to, you know, play in the G League maybe, or go play overseas, you know, that kind of thing. But, he's got invited to the combine, and that's not a guarantee because I think there's 70-something guys at the combine. There's 60 picks, I believe it is, in the draft. So, but, yeah, Jalen seems, I mean, he went down to Miami and worked out. He seems pretty all in on this. But, you know, I don't exactly know what kind of discussions he's had with Eric, but yeah, to me, it's a strong indication he's going to stay in the draft. But I don't think it's a done deal. A lot of it, you know, may be how he does in these combine scrimmages the next 2 days. They have these different teams, and Jalen's playing with Team Curry, which I assume has something to do with Steph Curry. And they'll be playing against, you know, there's a lot of SEC guys there. There's a lot of guys from Gonzaga, Duke, you know, that he's played against the NCAA tournament. The team he's playing today has, Kofi Coburn from the big man from Illinois, and I assume him and Jalen will be matched up some, so that would be a pretty interesting thing I would think for scouts to watch. But I don't think it's a done deal that he's staying in the draft, but certainly you get the feeling that, you know, that there's a pretty strong possibility that's the way it's going to go.
Well, somebody can only go by what someone tells them, you know. And when you're told that I'm declaring for the draft, I'm testing the waters. Well, I mean, you can't plan that he's going to be part of the team. So even in my head right now, I'm planning on Jalen Williams staying in the draft and starting his pro career, because that's kind of the way that I think the coaching staff for Arkansas is viewing it too. Just look at the team that they're building without him. Am I right? Is it 11 newcomers?
Yeah, 11.
11 newcomers with only 3 returning players. So, I mean, is this kind of the, you know, Nick Smith might be a one and done. There might be another one mixed in there. Who knows? You got graduate transfers that only have 1 year of eligibility. Is this what we can expect? Not 11 newcomers every year, but, you know, you're going to have a new team almost every year. It's what it feels like here now.
Yeah, and I think it's just 2 newcomers, right? Devo and Kamani Johnson and Devo Davis. Am I missing somebody?
I think you're right. That's right. Yeah.
I think there's a walk-on that's still going to be there. But, I mean, as far as scholarship goes, I mean, we're talking 11 new, 2 returning actual guys.
Yeah, I will say this. If Jalen Williams decides to come back to Arkansas, I think they'll find a spot for him one way or another. But, yeah, I think last year was it 9 newcomers? I do think with the transfer portal, and of course, you know, Eric and his staff have been very aggressive with that, going back to their days at Nevada. Yeah, I mean, I think this is sort of the new normal in college basketball, that you're going to have a lot of turnover. every year with the transfer portal. And obviously, if you're recruiting high school players who are going to be high draft picks, I mean, it's kind of what's happened to Kentucky a lot is, the good thing is you're bringing in great players. I don't know if it's quote bad, but the thing is you're not going to have those guys for very long, maybe 1 year, maybe two tops, and they're going to move on to the NBA. But if you can keep reloading with similar type players, I mean, that's a good thing. I'm sure the fact that Moses Moody was a one and done player and a first round draft pick, definitely influenced all these guys that they signed this year. Like Nick Smith and like Jordan Welsh and the others. And if guys see players signing here being first round draft picks, well, they're going to want to follow that blueprint. But I think and Eric with his pro background, especially in the G League, and the CBA, he's talked about you'd have guys who signed NBA deals, you'd have guys who got better deals overseas. He was used to constant change in the roster, and that's pro ball, and this is college. It's a little different. You can't add players during the season, But at least I don't think that's going to happen. I guess you never know. Maybe we're headed towards trades or something in college basketball, or guys getting cut and signed free agent deals or something. I really don't think that's going to happen. But, and I think Eric, honestly, is the perfect guy for these times because he was really out ahead of everybody when it came to the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm. Now, Bob, I do want to switch over to baseball because we do have some baseball news of the day since the series is starting today that there's been an actual mix-up in the change-up in the rotation. What are your thoughts about changing it up this late into the season? I mean, down to our final series of the weekend before you go to Hoover and then ultimately before you host a regional.
Well, yeah, I didn't see Will McIntyre move, starting tonight. I guess, I wasn't on the Zoom yesterday because I was actually, doing the thing with Eric, or not doing it, but, I was at the event where he was speaking and doing some other things, but I think we had just come, as media in general, we had just come to expect that rotation. So it probably, and I don't know if Dave would have volunteered it or not, and maybe he would have, or maybe I'm not sure when they made the decision. It'll be interesting. I'm sure Phil and Dave can get into that in the pregame show tonight. But my initial thought is, obviously, I hope, Hagen Smith is okay health-wise. My guess is they're wanting to give him, he's a true freshman. He's thrown 60-plus innings. He's looked kind of tired or fatigued or whatever you want to call it the last couple starts. Hadn't looked as sharp. And so maybe they're just going to totally give him the weekend off. Or maybe out of the bullpen or something. My guess is maybe he gets the weekend off. Obviously, it's a big series. Arkansas wants to win the West. They want to get a first-round bye. They want to do what they can to, finalize getting a regional and maybe, staying in position to get a super regional. But it's probably more important to make sure Hagen Smith is strong for postseason play. I'm not talking about Hoover. I'm talking about a regional. And so that's Will McIntyre's been pitching better. He pitched great against Vanderbilt last week. And also, you got to remember, this is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So now you've got Nolan pitching on normal rest. Going Friday. Wiggins is a little different because he's going from Sunday to Saturday. But my guess is this is just about giving Hagen Smith a break. But I don't have any inside information on that. That's just my take on it. Phil probably has a better idea than I do.
Well, I know you said that you weren't able to be on the Zoom yesterday, but have you heard the comments made by Dave Van Horn kind of about the negativity surrounding the program from the fans and, telling his players to block it out? What are kind of your thoughts about a coach, openly saying that our fans are being too negative?
Well, yeah, I wasn't on the Zoom. I did see the comments. I haven't watched the video, but I read through a transcript. And I think he was asked about it. It's not like he, brought it up. So he was asked, and Dave's good about giving good answers. And I don't think you can't put too much into. No offense to fans, you can't react too much to what fans say on social media or anybody for that matter, media fans, whoever. But it has kind of shock's the right word. It surprised me that there has been, negativity around the program when you consider they've been ranked in the top 10 all year. They're tied for the West lead. They're going to probably host a regional, maybe a super regional, depending on how things go. Except for one season, in COVID, Dave Van Horn's always led this program to a regional at the very least, and a bunch of World Series. And, I think the fans enjoy the experience without the ballpark. I know nobody likes losing, but, they lost to Vanderbilt, which is, arguably one of the top 2 or 3 programs in the country, multiple national championships, and they hadn't lost a home SEC series in 2 years, or actually 3 years. And obviously, they didn't play in 2020. I get that, but they'd won 12 straight regular season SEC series, and they dropped one. And I guess maybe it's a sign of how well Dave's done with the program. The fans are that spoiled, and I realize it's not everybody, but I have been kind of surprised. And when I go on Twitter, and sometimes I think, why am I even reading this? Because this is just so nuts that people are freaking out. And, baseball, it's a long season. It's a lot of games. There are, quote, upsets. I don't even know, but upsets in baseball to me are kind of crazy. Midweek games, you're throwing, not your top pitchers. That's how Tennessee Tech beats Tennessee or Missouri State beats Arkansas or whatever. I've been surprised, but I think I'm not surprised Dave Van Horn stands up for his players. I think he's certainly proud of what they've done and what they've established here over the long haul.
Hey, Bob. I mean, how would you have gleaned that the fans are angry or upset about performance of a team before the age of social media and before sports radio stations? Like, I don't know if there were sports talk shows in Arkansas in the 70s and the 80s. Chances are there weren't, because there really weren't many sports talk shows across the country back then. There certainly weren't social media. There were newsletters. People could fly a plane above the stadium with a message trailing behind it. I mean, how did you know when pressure was being put on a program from fans back when, like, there wasn't an outlet for them to show it?
Yeah, I guess maybe people booing at a game, but that was very rare at Razorback events. And, sometimes you hear it at a football game every once in a while, and don't ever remember, maybe at a basketball game here and there with some tough things. But it was very, very uncommon I think it's pretty uncommon for college fans to boo their team. At home. I'm on the road. It's a different deal to get the road team booed by the fans. But, and then, usually they would say, well, they weren't booing the kids. They were booing, like, the play calling by Lou Holt or Ken Hatfield or whoever. Or they were booing, this and that, like Nolan Richardson's first year. That was obviously a rough year, and he was going through a lot personally. And, I remember there were some boos because, obviously, the team was struggling. But, that was probably the number one thing, and there were. I can remember one. Rick Schaefer was on a talk show up here in the '80s, but obviously that was going to be pretty positive stuff. And but yeah, things are totally different with social media, and of course the players all have it. And it's hard to tell 20-year-old or 21-year-old or whatever to disengage from social media because it's just such a big part of, I think, everybody's lives. But especially young people, that's just, a lot of ways how they communicate that. I mean, that's how we all found out about all this, Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher stuff was on Twitter, and that's how a lot of news gets broken. So if you get off social media totally, you're going to miss a lot of things going on. Probably, not a great idea. If fans are tagging players, that's pretty bad, I would say, and I would kind of wonder, what that person has going on in their life that they feel the need to do that, or to be critical of a college kid, or, just kind of, what's going on in your life that this is what you're spending your time doing. But, yeah, things have definitely changed, from 5 years ago even. I know Twitter's about 10 years old or something, but I'd say, and on Twitter it's all anonymous. Well, it's not all anonymous, but it certainly can be anonymous. And it's just, I just always find it's a lot easier to criticize somebody like on Twitter or Facebook or whatever than if you're face to face with them or talking to them on the phone or something. So I think that's part of it too. I think, there's there are things people say on Twitter that they would never in a million years say to somebody's face.
Yeah, I think you're right, too, about
Partners
that.
at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. And don't forget that the MLB is back as well. Who are you picking to win the World Series? BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.